or, their units or whatever, where they surround themselves with usually other narcissistic people and codependents and stuff, where they're all kind of have victim mentalities too. And, that have no boundaries and things. People that they can control and gain source of supply from. So this is how they survive. If they can't have it, then, it's like they go into like a death type of thing and they can't have that. Um, okay. So, I was just looking back, like, and kind of what's happening right now with when I did start driving Amish. Um, you know, they fell not too far behind me, as my dad had a construction business, and then all of a sudden, a lot of times what narcissists do is they will follow you, like in marriages, like if they'll follow you into your business, and maybe like have that business with you, but the whole time that's happening, they take control of you again, and you're like this puppeteer, and everything is done around them and with their say so and all that. And it's really kind of been a struggle out here, because when I finally thought that I had something of my own, because I did work for them the whole time growing up as an artist, it's just like really hard to, that's another way why it's just so hard to pull away from these manipulators in your lives. They can sometimes have a really strong pull on you. Mine also use my children. Just, any kind of vulnerable areas, they will take that and just dig right into it, and really can cause extreme pain to another person. Um, so I know one of his latest tricks has been, I have. I'm gonna tell you all this, okay? So don't freak out or anything, because this is really what it's like to deal with a narcissist. Like, they can play really good and they're helping everybody on the outside. They might be giving this person money. They might be giving them just gifts, or, and then all of a sudden they can take it away just as fast. This is one of their most sinister moves, I believe, because they sabotage. It's just this warped thing in their minds, this PTSD survival mode that all of a sudden kicks in, sometimes out of nowhere, most likely when they are losing control over you. Maybe you're got that modified contact going on, or whatever, but you still kind of in contact with them a little bit for certain reasons. You might have to be, until you can maybe finally cut that cord, or whatever. And with my case, it's like, my car finally took a dump, and I had bad credit for a long time, and finally, with all these videos I'm listening to, decided that I was going to do something smart for a change, and, join a debt consolidation program. But that's not going to be done for another year at least. And I'm sitting out here, and for many years, my parents have often helped me co-sign for, places to live and vehicles, because they make you depend on them. They make you really dependent off of them. But in the meantime, what a lot of us, and even me, didn't realize what was going on is that I know, even when I tried to go to college in the past, and in my 20s when they were paying for my cosmetology college, all of a sudden there was a narcissist running that place in there that was one of my teachers' husbands would sit in the back and run all the bills and sit in the office and peep out at all the girls all the time. And there would often be bruises on her arms and bruises all over herself because he was beating her. And then she would act like she fell down the stairs or whatever, you know. Um, so I remember that school was almost paid and there was $800 left to go. And all of a sudden, that narcissist that was running it at that school said, um, I took like a month leave because I got ill with IBS. And when I tried to go back, they said, well, you have to pay in the full $800. And you know, I went to my father about it, and we had a fight. All of a sudden, out of nowhere, it was like Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde, where Mr. Nice Guy flew out the window. And because I was standing up for myself, and he was just seeming difficult all of a sudden, and all of a sudden he told me that I needed to go find a job because I didn't have a job then. I was going to school, living at home, and pay the rest of it off. And it wasn't too long after that where I got more into drugs because, you know, when they do things, when they pull shenanigans like that, it really is to put you in a place of total pain, and to gain back control over. They don't like that you're going to succeed. They cannot have you be more successful than them. And although they can put kind of an act on like, oh, well, it's all your fault and blah, 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 and give you all these reasons why it's all your fault, and they're just being the greatest person, and they're the saints that try to rescue you or whatever, they actually sabotage efforts, which, you know, I still go through that with them, and that's why I really can't wait to finally start working from home. You know, hope and pray to God that I can finally set some clearer boundaries. And you know, if we stay in contact with these people, what happens is more chaos. I mean, they like to keep you in this destroyed point, you know, and it's that circle again of abuse tactics, and they can really seem like they have changed or whatever, but then they'll just pull some crappy crap again, you know, lately, and then lately it's been, I lost my car because I tried to talk to him quite a few months ago because I knew my car was going to pot. It was old. It had millions of miles on it. And he kept fixing my car for free and putting hundreds of dollars back into my car. And I kept telling him, well, it's going to be something one day where it's just not going to make it anymore. And it was, I didn't have to pay him back, but he rents places, and he really makes all this extra money. Even one of my homes he took from me when I was young, and rents that place as well for their retirement. And just it's that taking thing again, you know, where they don't care. They don't have any sense of care, and they trick people and then act like there's something wrong with you and not them, you know. And it's just take all my life, even with my children. I mean, it can get into like bad levels of it, where they just keep a person helpless on them and things. And they can be very diabolic and powerful. I mean, don't put it past these people. They're not people to mess with. As soon as you can get out, the better. I'm showing you myself and what I'm going through right now for a reason, because it will just leave you in an unhappy, anxious state all the time. So I had to finally, um, my car died, just a little ways back. And I've had to ask him, he's given me another really crappy vehicle to drive, right now. Um, because he kind of like collects cars. He has all this money he doesn't really know what to do with, so he collects cars and but it's just another one of his control I'm the king tricks. You know? I mean, in some of these cases, I'm sure that we might love some of these individuals, but you have to look again at things that they're doing. I mean, are you really happy with where you're at and happy with how they're treating you? And do you feel more trapped? You got to start looking for signs, that you could be dealing with a toxic individual. And, NPD, it's not fun. Um, so, and since I've been asking him, I have his other car, and I've been asking him for an insurance card that he's supposed to provide for other people, and he said that he has me on his insurance. Number one, I think I might be lying about it because he's done that in the past, and he can't find it. It's been like 4 times or more that I've asked him already for it, and can't come up with one. Oh, I'm working on that. I'm going to go find it, and then it never happens. And then they just keep you in this anxious state out there in the world, And the trick to that is finally when they do come up with whatever it is that you keep asking them for, it just makes you more clingier to them or whatever, with that attachment and just more cognitive crap that they're pulling to mind fuck you and make you believing again that, well, of course I was going to give that to you. Did you think that I was not going to? But the level of anxiety and that state of complete nerves and breakdown mode that they can put you into is real. Okay? So, there's just a little bit of what I was thinking to myself earlier as I was putting myself together. And just talking to myself like, step by step, Krista, you are going to do this. And this time you're relying all by yourself. You're not asking them for anything. You paid for that schooling yourself. You have a place here to live. And just keep doing it, And taking one foot at a time forward, meditating, relaxing, doing a lot of quantum healing energy modules that are bringing up some haunting things from the past, but also beginning to heal some of those major things. So I would really love to teach that more as time goes on, teach some of those healing practices, because we are really in a time where so many people are sick in the heads. There's 50% of us are sick, I was reading in one of my Reiki healing lessons, in America. That's a diabolical number. So we really need to learn how to be safe out here and to really get that healing that we need and truly deserve. And that knowledge that will help us overcome these types of relationships that might be keeping us down, and that we can really strive forward where we are worthy of love, and we do not have to accept their crumbs that they throw sometimes at us, big or small. We don't have to depend on that kind of false love anymore. So, thank you for listening today, and have a peaceful one.